What I've just seen in the chat is unkind. Jazz invites Exotic to a party he's not even in. Here we go. Right, the red lights line up. We're on to 5 at the top. And away we go with BCam starting in first, Corgi second. There's a straight drag race to the first corner. And it looks like an Angry Corgi might well win out at the front here. And there's an Alpine part way round. That's RedDragan has got unlucky. The Aston Martin of BarBar has completely, completely cut that chicane off. Johnny B and RedDragan both in the Alpines. Johnny B has had a much better start than what RedDragan has ended up having. But Johnny B shoveled to the outside as we then gear up to go onto the long straight. SmallerSmiley making his way through, and Johnny B off backwards by the looks of it. We're all on full wets. And look at an Angry Corgi going through, and he's well in the lead. Johnny B had half a look at RemoteBanjo, but did hold off. And CogCamper. Oh, and that's a mistake by Johnny B, which allows CogCamper through in the Haas. And RedDragan as well. Alpine teammate goes through. And there's also going to be a chance for DeflatedWee with around the outside. And look at back here as well. It's Johnny B losing positions at a fair old rate. Horrible start in the second part of the lap for Johnny B. As he really is back there fighting for his life. He might still have the dry setup on there. You never know. Deflated gets around CogCamper. He's now eyeing up RedDragan. Into the final corner. RedDragan turns in, wheel bangs a bit, but does end up off the track. DeflatedWee threw it in. I don't think RedDragan really ever knew that he was there. SmallerSmiley's made his way up into second. He has outdragged Cam in the Red Bull. Exotic has made some good ground early on, up to 8th place from the very back of the grid, of course, our championship leader. And BarBar and ayahuasca are fighting back there. We've got RemoteBanjo. I presume that Cam is probably having a little bit of a torrid time when it comes to this wet weather. Not really gaining any ground on the cars ahead, but RemoteBanjo is gaining on SmallerSmiley. All the while these guys fight, the longer the lead becomes for an Angry Corgi. Oh, and that is Johnny B again, a little bit too happy on the loud pedal as they come out of the chicane. Loses another couple of positions. Another torrid moment as that guy finds himself between BCam and DeflatedWee. Possibly, he's not going to get the exit. Deflated has geared it up quite well. But he's wiggling like a good one. Here we are, down toward the back here. Ayahuasca and Johnny B. Changing position there just briefly for the two. Some of the fastest laps start to come in. Exotic is where it stops. Deflated crawling all over the back of that guy's Williams once more, and he's got the run out of the first couple of turns. Does hold off though eventually, but that guy with Deflated's car placement running it very wide, really not braking too well, and coming off the track, losing a position to Deflated and a resulting position to Exotic as well. As RedDragan gets out of the way there. There we are, back to the front, and SmallerSmiley starting to drag an Angry Corgi in. Possibly not the first time that's happened in history. RemoteBanjo is full-time in the McLaren, but they were worried about the McLaren glitch. So he's scoring points for McLaren, by the way, and he is in a hat. It just looks a bit white and black rather than papaya and black. I imagine the race is possibly about to settle down quite well. Of course, we're not going to get the benefit of DRS with the wet weather involved. Grid, yeah, really not a lot of overtakes threatening to happen down there. Faska comes into pit. The longest, slowest pit lane ever at Paul Ricard, and he's retired out. That's it for Ayahuasca. We've had enough of the sprint race there. Exotic there, tailing DeflatedWee now. 3/10 of a second in it as they come up the long straight here at the Castellet. Reeling him in, but isn't going to get close enough to really try and move. He did jump on the curbs a bit there, Exotic, and that's compromised his line into the chicane. On turn 10, seen, of course, the brilliant flat out 90-degree right-hander. And followed by the Bose, where RedDragan and Steinos find themselves side by side. There is no room for both of them, and RedDragan is the one forced to back out. Back up to the front, and you can see SmallerSmiley, well, really revving it. As RedDragan comes into the pits. He lost a bit of front wing, do I wonder? See what happens to that. And Jakub is with him as well, so... Oh, he's come for intermediates. Big call by those two. I do think the rain possibly looks a little bit lighter. I'd imagine it's a green set going onto Jakub's car, along with a new front wing. That's a huge call by RedDragan and Jakub. Johnny B practically pushing Cod Camper through that lovely slow twisting section at the beginning of the lap. Turns 5 and 6 and onto 7 onto the Mistral straight. And pick up Deflated and Cam as Deflated does take Cam there. Steinos is off, and he is through the polystyrene chicane. Still gets a 3-second penalty for that. That'll be removed. And here's Exotic going on his teammate Cam. I think that was probably allowed to happen. That one, sensibly so as well. Yeah, let's have a look at RedDragan, see how much he reels Johnny B in by. And really see the difference in the times. We keep an eye on that there. SmallerSmiley runs just almost a little bit wide out of the final turn there. So start-finish straight. There's a couple more coming in. And it's Greg and it's BarBar. We've got a line of 3 so far at the front. An Angry Corgi, SmallerSmiley and RemoteBanjo all contesting the lead as it is at the moment. Steinos and that guy both get 3-second time penalties bona fide this time. Side by side almost. RemoteBanjo thought about having a go at SmallerSmiley there. Into the chicane of turn 3 and 4. Nothing really doing, but the whole lower half of the field now finds themselves on intermediates. That really does put the onus on these guys at the front. Are they going to stick with it, or are they going to pull the gamble as RemoteBanjo down the inside of the chicane does take SmallerSmiley. SmallerSmiley is then going to have a go back. Looks like he possibly got a slightly better run out of the chicane. Really pushing the fake McLaren. But RemoteBanjo holds his line around the outside and doesn't allow SmallerSmiley away in. Really, again, SmallerSmiley crawling all over the back of RemoteBanjo at times there. I think he's possibly found the wet line through some of these corners. Now have a look back here with Greg as well. We'll almost be reaching flat through scene with these guys as Dinos makes his way into the pits there, bringing up Deflated and Exotic. And of course, the lead battle rages on. Still with an Angry Corgi, as he has been for the entire race past the first corner, in the lead. And there goes SmallerSmiley. Going to the inside, and then the outside, and then the inside again. Oh, he's just taken just a little bit more track than RemoteBanjo was willing to give him. And that's the result. Is a SmallerSmiley getting through, and RemoteBanjo, as I say, being left on the curbs, unable to accelerate. But here he comes again, nearly having a look. There's definitely some low wings on that car as one goes wide back there in the form of, I think that was possibly Exotic or Cam. Speaking of the devil though, Exotic round DeflatedWee. And all side by side through scene. And Deflated, I don't know if he really gave up as a matter of choice or not, but very, very close to an aeroplane crash there. And oh no! RemoteBanjo's disconnected. That is hugely unfortunate because it had a good run to that point. Deflated comes into the pits. That leaves us with just a few wet weather tyre runners remaining. Just 5 now, sorry. Two of them at the very head of the field. Getting used to the sight of each other's backsides there, and Angry Corgi and SmallerSmiley ready to duke it out on track. As Cam and RemoteBanjo get together there nearly. Cam isn't getting through. Obviously, RemoteBanjo was just about regaining control of his car, I believe. So, just about there. But looking at RedDragan really pulling the gap in. And RemoteBanjo's going to go for that place back on Cam. Will he switch it back out of the chicane, I wonder? Did look a much better exit. Not going to be able to draft him, or is he? Going to have a go through scene? Oh, they're still there, side by side, and to the inside of the Bose now. RemoteBanjo goes, and he does make the move. Cam has to hold it out wide. Concedes that 4th position. RemoteBanjo gets himself back up part of the way to where he was when he disconnected. Exotic, along with again the leading, among the leading quintet, they've stayed out. I think RedDragan could. I don't think he's going to actually catch them, is he? Let's watch it for the next lap. If he gains about 3 seconds, we're going to get worried. Steinos goes fastest lap there, and that guy quickly robs him of that title. Exotic is pulling the gap in. I think it is going to be within a second as they come onto the Mistral straight. Got Camper with a time penalty right at the back just there. And RedDragan certainly is getting time back there. It's a second within first lap, a second and a half nearly within the first half a lap. It could possibly get a little bit tasty as we approach the end. And Deflated and RedDragan fighting, that's not what they wanted. Deflated might well be on for a win. Of course, 11.1 in it there, and Deflated on those much newer tyres is going to be going like stink. Can't imagine any of these guys would want to pit now. That's a stupid decision should they make it, I would believe. They've made their bed, they've got to lie in it. Like I say, although we're not going to see the emergence of DRS in this particular race, you can see the train forming of cars within a second of each other, and Deflated's got it down to 8.6. He is going to be catching big time, and I wonder what will Angry Corgi do. Will he let his teammate go for some points, or will he try and steal the glory himself, I wonder? I don't think he'll have much choice, let's be honest, but it'll be interesting to see whether he fights it at least. Yeah, I think they're probably right. I think it's just in comparison, the offset for RedDragan's tyres is huge. I do wonder whether he'll get there or not, though. He might potentially throw his hat in the ring for a top 5, maybe. Maybe a top 5, top 4. As he gets past back there, does RedDragan. That's a scene. It's a big pass there. SmallerSmiley once again staring at the back side of an Angry Corgi. They call those something, I think it's furries. But yeah, SmallerSmiley shaping up to have another go at an Angry Corgi. Not going to manage it just there, though. Exotic's still just holding on to the back of this train, but he will be acutely aware that he will need to get a move done. And he is certainly pulling ground on a SmallerSmiley in the straights. There we go. It's oh wow, that was a heck of an exit from Exotic. Well, I said he'd be aware he'd need to get this done. He's done the both of them. Oh, brilliant stuff there, and that has relieved Angry Corgi of the lead. Core Camper's definitely taken too much of a risk. Yes, that's relieved Angry Corgi of a lead that he has held all race long so far. And looking back there as well, Deflated coming up to some cars in front of him. He's overtaken Cam. Next down the road, 1.5 seconds away is RemoteBanjo, and you can see Deflated, as long as he can dispatch RemoteBanjo relatively easily, more than with a chance of a win. There you go. This is about to get spicy. DeflatedWee takes RemoteBanjo, and again, what is a rather unusual part of the circuit, immediately pulls best part of 1.5 seconds on him. The intermediate's the tyre to be on, and everyone is learning that now. DeflatedWee is carving through. Two laps to go. Deflated in 4th. Finds himself just a couple of seconds off the lead. I imagine that the next couple of cars would be easy pickings for him. He goes to the outside of SmallerSmiley. SmallerSmiley really kind of forces him off there. A little bit naughty, I'd say. Angry Corgi has just taken a track limits penalty. And Deflated absolutely bombs off the entrance to the Mistral Straight. That's a bit of an odd move. They both moved at the same time, I think, there. An Angry Corgi and DeflatedWee. SmallerSmiley's having a look on an Angry Corgi, and an Angry Corgi has outbraked himself. He's going through the polystyrene chicane, and he's going to have to cede a podium position there. Again, another 3 seconds, I'd imagine, that gets removed. Exotic's still in the lead, but I can't imagine for much longer, because look at Deflated. Oh, he's going to have a go at the Bose. Deflated there. Exotic fends it off, but you'd imagine that effort will be in vain as Deflated storms on through. And again, anyone who's come in for the Inters has more than done the right thing. Steinos is in for second here, as Exotic again has no choice but to wave the proverbial white flag there. And RedDragan also looking at the back of this battle now with RemoteBanjo and an Angry Corgi straight ahead. Steinos takes the fastest lap at the moment. Final lap it is. And for the lower reaches of the points positions, this could get spicy. RedDragan on an Angry Corgi as they go towards turns 3 and 4. And easily done by the Alpine. That's top 5 for RedDragan, and he'll be licking his lips potentially at the prospect of going after the Mercedes just in front of him. Got a Mercedes and a Red Bull there. BarBar gets through on an Angry Corgi now as those wet tyres really start to go off. Steinos, as I say, has got 6 seconds, but he's going to get 3 removed, I'd imagine. BarBar and an Angry Corgi. Angry Corgi, I think, has been forced off there. I think he's gone off to the Shadow Realm. So just avoiding it there, and he's slipped even out of the top 10 as the Ferrari driver now. SmallerSmiley still really all over the back of Exotic, and here comes RedDragan. Oh, had to go to the inside of the Bose. And I think he's maybe gone into the back of Exotic. I don't know what's going on here. SmallerSmiley, RedDragan and Exotic also close together on track. SmallerSmiley cedes to Greg as well. And look at this. 3 of them wide into the final corner. RedDragan on the optimal line will outdrag the guy to the finish to get the 3rd place he wanted. Greg all of a sudden has stormed for 4th. But he's gone up to 2nd on track limits. Keep it between the lines, guys. That is crazy. Look at the gap between all of those drivers there. Greg, Exotic, SmallerSmiley, Steinos. All of them. And it is the track limits that have decided this all. I think Steinos is going to end up potentially with that 2nd place, because I think he gets 3 of those removed, as I said. So, to make sense of it, Deflated from Steinos, who, as I say, is 5th at the moment, but will have those 3 seconds removed, and from Greg. So Greg gets a podium. What on earth has just gone on there? Whew. Wow. As we await Quad Camper getting around with no front wing and some slick tyres. There we are, he's round again. For goodness sake, please finish it. There he goes. Bosh. Oh, he's taken himself out. No, he hasn't. Just saying, Cog Camper. I got wrong for that. Bosh. Donutting on a live racetrack. Bosh. Bosh. There we go. Well, that's race over. And the battle that you might have thought would have been for the lower reaches of the points turned out to be a battle for the top 3. And as I say, I think after the penalties are applied and removed, I think Steinos is going to keep his 2nd place. Mainly because I think he got that 3 seconds for going straight through the, or going through the polystyrene chicane and weaving in on there. Put the race director, Steinos. As I say, that was a straight 3-second penalty for his for corner cutting. But I think the Mercedes driver will get his, will get his 2nd place, and Greg again gets a podium. Well, there you go. What RedDragan potentially could have ended up all the way up here. With the 3-second penalty. Just 1 3-second penalty as well. You can see the influence that that has had. Down to 7th from what could have potentially been a 3rd place. DeflatedWee takes the win. Anyone who got onto the Inters would have made a cracking call. From, as I say, Steinos, then Greg. That order that you see on screen, I don't think will be the final order. It's not. That guy will get us started. And quali session in its meaningful form is underway. It's taken us about 3 minutes to get there, even with cars on track. That guy in the Williams first through. Following a car obviously isn't usually ideal around here. But I'll tell you my story of my last pole, or the last pole, as in that guy invalidates the last pole in my old league, in everyone's old league really. That was wet to dry, sorry, dry to wet qualifying Q3. And distinctly remember dropping in behind a car in front, following it for an entire lap, taking pole by less than 1/10 of a second, and that being the end. If you've got anyone to give you a tow in the right bits of track, it's useful. Maybe just sitting a little bit closer to somebody possibly outweighs, you know, or for a whole lap, possibly outweighs the downforce you lose through the fast corners. Jakub's going to be first round to then come and complete a lap. And complete it he does. 29.1 to get us going there from Jakub. BarBar quickly follows through with a time 6/10 slower. Johnny B out on track there. Jumps in between the two with a 29.6. 29.6. 29.6. 29.6. 29.6. 29.6. 29.6. 29.6. 29.6. 29.6. 29.6. 29.6. 29.6. 29.6. 29.6. 29.6. 29.6. 29.6. 29.6. 29.6. 29.6. 29.6. 29.6. 29.6. 29.6. 29.6. 29.6. 29.6. 29.6. 29.6. 29.6. 29.6. 29.6. 29.6. 29.6. 29.6. 29.6. 29.6. 29.6. 29.6. 29.6. 29.6. 29.6. 29.6. 29.6. 29.6. 29.6. 29.6. 29.6. 29.6. 29.6. 29.6. 29.6. 29.6. 29.6. 29.6. 29.6. 29.6. 29.6. 29.6. 29.6. 29.6. 29.6. 29.6. 29.6. 29.6. 29.6. 29.6. 29.6. 29.6. 29.6. 29.6. 29.6. 29.6. 29.6. 29 Exotic. I'm going to get a run going, so here he goes. Let's follow him. Let's follow him around. Follow the master at work, of course. Comes in through 6 and 7, gets himself onto the Mistral straight. Did have a lot of straight line speed about him in the wet sprint race earlier. Really attacks the entry to that chicane. He eases off of the curb through the second part, and then out he goes again. Not towards scene. Here we go. Good corner to watch them go around. Almost as a non-event nowadays in these cars. Keeps hold of fourth gear as he goes to turn 12. And you'd imagine it'd be similar as he comes through turn 14. Final turn now. That little bit of a switch back on yourself just as you're out of one corner, you're into another. And Exotic to the line. And pulls a 29.0. So Jakub, very close to him really by comparison. Of course it's a good time from Exotic, but really not bad effort from Jakub by the looks of that. Cam has invalidated. Greg's on his way out for an out lap. Ooh, spicy. Good thing I did put the football on. Come on. Else comes through, there we are, and he's had an extra warm-up lap there. See what he can do as we track his first meaningful flying lap. Possibly a touch squirrely on the curbs just out of turn 4 or 5 there. Turn 5, sorry. Mistral straight. He's not going to let that affect him too much by the looks of it. Really looking quite shaky through the chicane of 8 and 9. Brings it up and round towards Senior and Labose. He's of course famous with that Charles Leclerc crash in mind as well. Through this final part of the lap, where will he be able to put that Mercedes after an impressive sprint race? Will he be able to follow it up with a good quali and Grand Prix, I wonder? To the line, see, he's only 7th with a 29.9. There's definitely more to find there. RedDragan's already lost his lap. Let's pick up, where are we? Who's on track? An Angry Corgi comes through and sets a time, 30.1. Well, we're breaking ground, but going downwards at the moment with some of the times. That guy, I think, is going to come to try and complete a lap now. That'll get him one on the board. There we are, it's 30.0 for him there, so just jumps an Angry Corgi. Good stuff there. RedDragan's still invalid, just as he was when he was on that lap earlier. Of course, DeflatedWee goes fastest, 29.004, so 16 thousandths of a second in it there. Sounds like it potentially could be good news for anyone who owns Malo Gusto in fantasy football. SmallerSmiley up into 5th, by the way. Let's say that's quite a flying time there. .4. He's definitely got pace, we know that. There's a reason he's here. Ayahuasca's been done with the medium tyre experiment there. So, Williams in the infield there lets Greg through to continue his lap. There'll only be Top Gun and RedDragan left to set one, as long as Greg can get this on the board. Decent exit, decent looking exit really from the final turn. And Greg continues on to line with a 29.7 there, so very much midfield, but yeah, look at that. Cod Camper, RemoteBanjo, Greg, all within 0.005 of a second of each other. Just casually, of course. Fantastic. RedDragan's come into the pits. Crazily close between where's the steward? Yep. All on tape, Barbar, you naughty boy. Absolute specimen. There goes Top Gun here. Yet to set a time, of course. Only one of 2 drivers yet to do that. And okay, right. Oh, that glitched. That glitched a lot. It's just a little bit of a visual freak out as we come to the final corner, and away we go. I don't know if it's me lagging or if it's Top Gun. Probably me, but Top Gun up to 8 for the 29.5, so we're all, you know, reasonably closely grouped. Within a second up to 12th as Chaz goes fastest. It's a 28.8 out of almost absolutely nowhere. Camper track's probably ramping up a little bit, I'd imagine. Of course, we're going to see some improvement, but just how much from some of the other drivers, I wonder. They'll be gearing up for the final runs here, I think. Bob Camper was 0.6 down through that particular lap there. Along with Cam as he tries to get a time on the board that's better than the one he's got for 15th at the minute. Well, this is not good news for Malo Gusto owners in fantasy football. He doesn't get that assist. And Cam gets up to 29.7. Improvement, of course, from the Red Bull driver in there, obviously, as a reserve. And, that's the 4th driver onto a 29.7. Let's see what that guy can produce. He's on a flying lap at the moment. And he can produce an invalidation. So that's a little bit unfortunate. Probably maybe doesn't go far enough. That won't be what he wanted. One driver yet to set a time. That driver is driving an Alpine, and that driver is usually commentating. It's RedDragan. We're going to have round to start a first lap, I wonder. It may well be Greg first of all. Of course, everyone's going to be pushing for it because these are laps that really have to count. The track's fully rubbered in, and I'd imagine that this is where everyone will be able to show the full extent of their hand, and Greg finds himself just over half a tenth up through the first sector. We want a little bit more improvement than that, and I'd imagine he's got it in there. Through obviously the Mistral straight and up to chicane, seems to take that nice and cleanly. No real issue there, it has to be said. It's a slight toe off of the car ahead. Almost thought about indulging in that. Didn't quite make it though. Through scene without too many problems, but is catching a little bit of traffic at the Beausset. Both of them stopped on the inside. Red sweeps back round, tries to sweep in and out of various traffic cars around him, and of course these twisting, turning pieces of tarmac. Good lap from Greg. It's looked pretty consistent, it has to be said. Up to the line, what's he got? It's good enough for 7th for the 29.5. It's a very, very good effort from Greg. I need some big pace. Get up there with these guys, and Johnny B, it has to be said as well, 29.4. He's in AT2. Can't imagine he'll be in AT2 for much longer after that, but he is in AT2 as it is at the minute. Follow on with an Angry Corgi, see what sort of improvement is in that Ferrari. Obviously led the sprint race for much of the affair. Obviously, one of the other drivers obviously coming up from AT2. See whether he'll be able to put a competitive lap time on the board. What he'll do is gun it to the line from here. And what can he produce? It's 4/10 slower than what he had before, so 15th at a maximum for an Angry Corgi. RedDragan definitely needs this lap, and he is going great guns here by the looks of it. A little bit wide on the exit of the final turn. Will hamper his progress up the straight, but what has he got? What was position? Up to 10th. 29.5, as I say. I think the slight mistake on the final turn in Exotic has Exotic's made it a bit boring again, hasn't he? It's absolutely smashed DeflatedWee's previous fastest lap by 10th and a half quite easily. You know, casually, 28.4. We've not seen anything that quick this session. So Greg will be wheeled into the pits, and that will just about be it. Exotic again gets pole. In another roundabout way. Like I say, it'll be DeflatedWee in second, and Jakub again with another good qualifying session. Takes himself up to third. Like I say, he qualified and raced well last week, did Jakub. He did prove he can mix it with the quick guys, with the big guys at the top. So he's potentially going to get himself in a battle here, I think, Jakub. Just needs to show a little bit more guts in some of the moves, I think. I think he backed out a couple of earlier races. He will have the opportunity to make amends once more as he starts from 3rd on the grid. Chaz starts 4th. Ayahuasca with a great qualifying session there into the 28th and 5th. Steinos in 6th, TopGun 7th, RemoteBanjo 8th, BarBar 9th, Johnny B 10th, SmallerSmiley in 11th, Greg 12th, RedDragan 13th, Coldcamper 14th, Cam, that guy, and an Angry Corgi then round out the order. Starting off, I would imagine, as they tick, just about to tick over to 38. So get the show very much on the road in a moment or two. Also, all I'm doing in the meantime is watching football. Here we go. We are on the grid. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 red lights. Exotic on the right, Deflated on the left. Away we go, and I think it's a good start for Exotic. He's burned Deflated off rather quickly there. Chaz, I think, is hunting Jakub back there as well as we come back down the field a little bit. And Chaz has got through on Jakub, and Steinos has taken Ayahuasca early on as well. He'd have wanted to have done that. SmallerSmiley through on Johnny B, and another wretched start for the Alpine driver. Really, mostly through line of stern, as we've got a little bit of a look going on to the back just there. But yeah, no one misbehaving so far. Let's see, will TopGun be able to give it a go on RemoteBanjo? Is he going to try it on the brakes? No, he's backed out, but RemoteBanjo's left him some room. Could be a way back in for TopGun. He opens things up just there. Everyone on a hard tyre except for the bottom 3 at the moment. Cam, that guy, and then both of those on the mediums. RedDragan has put some softs on in a real wild card of strategy. As I say, not too much misbehaving. Did have a swap at the top there with Jakub and Chaz, and we might be looking at a swap at the top between Deflated and Exotic. Is Deflated going to go for it? He is. You saw him do that to RedDragan not so long ago in the sprint, and although it's compromised his exit, we are side by side towards turn 1. And Exotic peels in, lets Deflated go. The Ferrari driver takes the lead just at the end of lap 1. A little bit further back as well, BarBar, and he is embroiled in a DRS train containing everyone at the minute. Nobody's really broken too far away. Deflated still at the head of it. Once the DRS gets going, it will be true DRS train. Still time for some drivers to lose track though, or lose touch, and obviously RedDragan looking down the order as well will be wanting to make a swift bit of progress on those mediums, on those softs, sorry. And of course that guy and Cam on the mediums will also be wanting to surge forward. But no, at the moment, looking back up to the front, still nothing really crazy going on. See, I don't know what Deflated is coming with in terms of wings for the for a dry race, but certainly seems to have a bit more about him than what Exotic does, especially on the straights. flying through. I think Chaz and RemoteBanjo, SmallerSmiley, fastest laps through there. And I think we just had a little bit of a shake with Ayahuasca, which has half allowed Top Gun to have a look. Not going to give it a go though. Certainly got him a bit closer, but with DRS now online, we may see some overtaking start to happen. As RemoteBanjo and SmallerSmiley both off, I think. No, both just lost position. Both lost it to BarBar actually, and as we look back here, we'll watch it from Johnny B's perspective. No, DRS is sending you backwards. It's not a nice position to be in if you're BarBar just there, but SmallerSmiley and RemoteBanjo get the positions back quite nice and easily. Makes it look very, very much routine. BarBar, though, has slotted back in. And got back between SmallerSmiley and RemoteBanjo. So again, maybe running a touch more wing on that Aston Martin. Greg, I think, is also back in there, having a little bit of a battle with Johnny B. Current AT2 championship leader up against Greg, of course. And Greg to the inside of the final turn as the Aston Martin in front goes very wide, and so does RemoteBanjo. Greg, I think, has got the move done on Johnny B. Potentially may start to see just a little bit of naughties at the back there, but still the leaders hold firm. DRS once more, and Exotic, I think, is going to have a look. He's gaining, but he has definitely eased off. Not thinking about pinning it on the brakes down the inside of the chicane at the moment, but Jakub finding himself in a bit of a battle with Steinos and Ayahuasca and Top Gun behind now. Oh, we're 3 wide. It's being pinballed as Jakub. Ayahuasca finds himself through and ahead of this battle in among all that. Opportunism at its finest, as down the inside goes Top Gun at the Pose. Oh my goodness me, Top Gun, I think, is off. He's possibly just been clipping that, that's all. We've still got Steinos and Jakub side by side. Steinos to the inside of the final turn. Tries to edge Jakub out. I think he might just about have done it. Still couldn't fit a credit card between those two at some points. And to the inside of turn 1 goes Jakub. Turn 2 it's held by Steinos. Again, really nowhere to go for Jakub other than off the track there, as Steinos tries to filter his way through, and he's cut the chicane as well at turn 3. And really good battling going on a little bit further down the field, but Elbow's definitely out. Into the DRS zone, and will Exotic have a go at the front first of all? He has had a go at the front. DeflatedWee, of course, left with no answer there, really. As, DRS just proves far too powerful for him. Jakub's gone wide into the chicane there. And Top Gun has taken his position as a result. Thank you very much, says the Williams driver, as these guys start to be cut adrift from the top 3. Deflated gaining on Exotic, but I think he's going to stay just nice and composed and behind Exotic for now, easing off. He'll wait for his opportunity to make the move back under DRS, I'd imagine. Chaz as well also pushing him through, and Ayahuasca definitely suddenly within sight of these guys. Showing some brilliant pace already in this race. Say Steinos likely to be potentially a victim of the DRS train behind him at the moment. It's deflated gains, but again holds his nerve. we go again. We're nearly in for another dose of DRS. Lap 6 of 27. At the moment we are on. Down here, Cog Camper and that guy really going to have a go at it, but looking back up to the front and Deflated, it's just going to hang behind Exotic for another lap or so, I think, by the looks of it, unless, of course, his exit is any good out of here, but it's a little bit wide out of turns 8 and 9. Might potentially open himself up to Chaz, who definitely is lurking in that respect. As I say, just playing the patient game, as is Chaz there. Both of them just happy to sit just in behind and take the DRS for a lap or two, and then I imagine they'll pick the moment and go for it a little bit later on. RemoteBanjo is being tailed a little bit further down there by BarBar and by Greg, who is just within DRS of the car in front though. The SmallerSmiley, who has half a look on Jakub there. Doesn't quite manage to do it. Steinos and Ayahuasca both have time penalties. 3 seconds each for them and an Angry Corgi at the minute. Still line of stern in the front 4. Ayahuasca, of course, will know that with that time penalty he's got to get his foot down. It's the catch-22. He'll want to get some moves done now, but equally starting to fall into the clutches of Steinos and co behind again, and we've reformed a field-long DRS train. So Johnny B and Cam go together. Cam's really sent it to the outside of the chicane to fend off the oncoming Alpine. But Johnny B able to conserve, to hold back, and to really make the most of his exit to dispatch the Red Bull. Now looking to the outside now goes Johnny B to try and defend from Cam around the Bose. Managed to just hold him out, or has he? Yet Cam, I think, has finally eased off. So, of course, RedDragan as well, that has to be said, not making a massive amount of progress. He will need a pit stop rather soon. You kind of have to imagine. Still going line astern. I think again it's just, oh, will he ease off or will he go for it? That's a rapid gain. Through and dispatched Exotic with minimal fuss under DRS, and that's what they can do as TOPGun and Steinos end up side by side. Jakub's there trying to poach position. I think SmallerSmiley's also interested. Jakub around the outside of scene, not gonna have much of a chance on the. Oh, we're round there, and it's Jakub flying off the track, and TOPGun also. You saw as the collision was initiated into the Bose. Sending 3 or 4 cars into there at once does not go. And TOPGun end up round. Jakub's ended up off and losing positions. That guy suddenly found himself in the points. But you have to fancy at some point that these guys knew that that would have ended in tears. Steinos as well also caught up in that. That's something you always have to think is going to happen, unfortunately. Oh dear. goes Exotic, trying to get that first place back. Goes to the inside. I think he's cut a fair amount of the chicane off there. He's already ahead of Deflated, so it won't be chalked as an illegal overtake, but certainly quite a lot of curb. Deflated just having to remain calm, easing off, and letting it go through Scene as we approach the Bose again with a few remaining battlers here. It's SmallerSmiley, RemoteBanjo, and BarBar all together. BarBar's flashing. RemoteBanjo and SmallerSmiley all getting out of that all okay though. And things are starting to get rather dark, have you noticed? I wonder if there'll be any rain in the air before the end of the race. There we go, we're on the way again, and this time up to the DRS zone. I think Deflated, not quite with no, I didn't think he'd be quite with Exotic, but he is going to have a go. He gains a massive amount just with DRS alone. Of course, gets his move back done, but like I say, it's going to be ebbing and flowing. SmallerSmiley and BarBar are close together as we come around Scene and towards the Bose once more. RemoteBanjo has dispatched the two, but SmallerSmiley completes his move before the Bose. And we're through again. So BarBar again, tailing SmallerSmiley. The Aston Martins are having a good race here. And 4th and 7th at the minute. BarBar, of course, again fighting quite a long way. And RedDragan in for a set of hard tyres to see him out to the rest of the race, unless, of course, there is any wet stuff. First one into the pit, but of course he was always going to be on some soft tyres, wasn't he? His teammate Johnny B is hunting down Cod Camper and that Haas just ahead of him. He is flashing, so running out of energy rather quickly, but does get a nice routine DRS move done down the Mistral straight. RemoteBanjo as well, tailing SmallerSmiley once more. BarBar again getting interested. And side by side through Scene once more. It's impressive, these guys, how they do that constantly. BarBar has had more than a look to the inside there. SmallerSmiley stayed ahead, and RemoteBanjo having to settle back down for 6th at the moment. BarBar, though, again with a decent exit, could have a chance of getting away. Not all. It's a lock-up from the Haas there. That was RemoteBanjo trying to throw it in. I think he's ended up keeping position. A little bit deep in from BarBar back there, but keeps his position over Greg once more. Greg again is a wise old head in this game. He'll know to wait for the DRS and wait for his chance, wait for an error from BarBar. He knows what he's doing. Said it was a good night for Chelsea earlier. It's not a very good night anymore. Don't like it anymore. Exotic still heads the field, this time obviously with Deflated in tow, and SmallerSmiley and RemoteBanjo still going at it. Here they come as they round the Bose once more. SmallerSmiley still holding position. At the moment, again, it's going to sound boring. The championship leader's in the lead. Because what we're really looking at, I think, now is who blinks first when it comes to pit stops. And speaking of that, it was Cam on the mediums. Yeah, so obviously again one of those that we'd have thought would blink. He's on for a set of hards for the rest of the race. I think it's just about covering off RedDragan in the process there. Or just trying to. Best he can. BarBar is still in that little train that involves SmallerSmiley and RemoteBanjo, and obviously all the drivers behind him as well. Have a look back here. I know I've just missed the move for the lead as Deflated gets Exotic once more. We've got TOPGun going in on Johnny B for 13th and 14th place. Johnny B throws it, tries to defend. In the end, I think has possibly... No, I don't think he has compromised his exit at all. As he approaches, but hangs back off of TOPGun in the end. Is he going to have a look at the Bose? He has gone to the outside. Potentially going to cut back on the exit. No, nowhere near. A little bit of wheel-to-wheel once more there between those guys. Of course, again, as I said, Deflated still in the lead. And who has blinked first? It's SmallerSmiley. SmallerSmiley, TOPGun, Johnny B, all of those guys are into the pits for a set of mediums. So, undercut attempted. Firmly in undercut territory now. As lap 14 rolls round, of course, it's about halfway through the race, so yes, makes just enough sense. Exotic, maybe. Oh, had a thought. He moved out very late from under the back wing of Deflated, but I feel like maybe a touch too late. He startled himself a touch there. BarBar trying to throw his... Oh, he's taken RemoteBanjo round. Really threw it to the inside, or to the outside, sorry, to try and defend his line. And in the end, RemoteBanjo is sacrificed. Steinos is having a look in the inside of the Bose now, having a good look towards the back of BarBar's car. They're all back up together once more. Jakub is in there as well once more. It's not taken them long to get back, these guys. Jakub, of course, as I say, was a big part of that incident. They all tail each other into the pits, all four of them. Deflated gets out before the stampede comes in, which means Exotic, Chaz, that guy, and Ayahuasca yet to pit. My goodness, it's going to be interesting to just sit at the end of the pit lane, I think, and count them out. I think they'll all be possibly a little bit further away from each other than when they went in. RedDragan, by the way, soft to hard, has ended up, I know he's obviously on 4-lap old hards, but has ended up in 7th for now. He will have a stampede behind him that has exited the pits. He has split, though, SmallerSmiley from BarBar and from Steinos, which is always good news for SmallerSmiley. And RedDragan, I think, about to become Prey as BarBar comes through. And just Just lets him go. Nice and mature from RedDragan. Was never ever going to find a way to fight that. And Chaz and Exotic, as Exotic goes into the pits. And Ayahuasca follows him in as well. Obviously with that 3-second penalty as Ayahuasca at the moment, but keeping pace very well. And Chaz, the only one left. Where do we go from here, I wonder? Is he going to hang it out for a set of softs even, do we think? As Angry Corgi gets another penalty back there. SmallerSmiley puts the fastest lap on the board. And so does TOPGun. Yeah, with a yellow in sector 3. I think that's Angry Corgi's just been off. RedDragan takes a time penalty as well. As I say, Chaz and that guy, the only ones there left to pit, and I think that guy's tyres will probably be hurting. Jakub and Steinos up close and personal once more. And Steinos, I think, with a much better exit from the chicane at the end of the Mistral Straight, or partway through the Mistral Straight, I should say, has managed to overtake Jakub, got him with a bit of a cut back there. As Chaz finally makes his way in, and so does that guy. Which will then restore the leading order. Deflated will come back into the lead of the race. And of course Exotic in second. Ayahuasca is going to end up third, so there'll have to be some brilliant ground made up from Chaz and from that guy if they are to see the checkered flag in a reasonably close position to the one that they've just gone into the pits in. Two-second gap though, so Deflated's undercut. Certainly working at the moment. This is an undercut track. An Angry Corgi comes in and retires. Not going to be seeing any DRS action just yet, but of course a lap offset can be all the difference in this game. Steinos looking to the outside of BarBar. He's just been forced to the very extremities of the track, and Jakub will have a look on his way back in, but I don't think we'll be able to execute a move as they approach scene. Oh, and that's Steinos and BarBar close once more as they come this time to scene corner. And Labose, sorry. And Jakub has actually managed to get through on BarBar, and so has Steinos. So again, Steinos, Jakub, BarBar, Greg, all very close back here. Ayahuasca's just dropped out with the DRS of Exotic, who has set the fastest lap of the race. Chaz, I think, as Ayahuasca takes another 3 seconds. It's a shame because he's racing well as well. He would have kept his podium if it wasn't for that at the minute as well. Chaz, as I say, will be eyeing up a move on SmallerSmiley as he approaches the Mistral Straight. Imagine it'd be meat and drink with the extra grip that Chaz has got in those tyres compared to SmallerSmiley. And easily done by the AlphaTauri driver, and he can get on to having a bit of a look, potentially the podium position if he can pull Ayahuasca in. Jakub and Steinos change positions once more, and Johnny B, that guy, and RedDragan all close together, along with Cam a little bit further up. RedDragan, of course, again has been going backwards since everyone has come out of the pits. Just so much pace in those new tyres, he's not been able to really keep up. And a little bit of a move around the Bose, but Johnny B managing not to collide with that guy on those new softs with enough grip to really get that move done. And, he potentially could be in sight with some points. Steinos follows Jakub up to the first couple of turns there. Looking back here as well, well, Exotic all of a sudden does find himself within the DRS of Deflated, so either a stormer of a lap from Exotic or a minor mistake from Deflated. The Hasta plan. Oh dear. Yes, it is absolutely on fire. It's colossally burnt, you see. And Cam's out. Cam is out. Cam is out. It's a safety car. I think that is a potential trip. Yeah, that was a trip to the wall back there. That's got to have had something to do with someone, I'd imagine. Oh, okay. Could potentially be a reprieve for RedDragan here, or is everyone going to come in for a set of softs, I wonder? I think maybe Chaz would be. Chaz strikes me as the type to hang it out. There we go. Ayahuasca, because yeah, Ayahuasca's pitted, Deflated's pitted, Exotic's pitted, SmallerSmiley, Steinos, everyone except Chaz has hit the pits. I say a reprieve for some drivers who might have been just a little bit further back earlier in this race. We're going to have potentially about 6 or 7 laps of pure soft tyre racing. And like I say, a reprieve, I think, especially for RedDragan not being able to select a nice strategy. As it says. Fantasy football. The Chaz is going to pretty much have his work cut out for the next few laps or so. Recipe for disaster. Yeah, we're well, that was the Hasta plan, wasn't it? Frying that, and but yeah, Chaz from Deflated, from Exotic, from Ayahuasca with penalties, of course. Steinos also probably won't finish where he does finish in terms of the actual leaderboard, and RedDragan has got 3-second penalty up there as well. And happens to be another lap behind Burnt Mylander. He's not going to peel himself into the pits just yet. So we'll be getting going at the end of lap 21. Well, Deflated softs usually is quite, usually is quite disastrous anyway, but I think if they were Deflated, they'd have pitted by now. Yes, as we follow Burnt Myland around the track. One last time, hopefully, in this race. I don't want to really see him again. He could be really geared up for a finale for the books. It'll be interesting to see just how much pace Chaz can preserve within those tyres that are 3 laps older than everyone else's. Safety car in this lap, so Burnt Mylander will go away. And Chaz will take the pace, so it's his call when he wants to drop the hammer now. Really just weaving about, trying to get those tyres nice and toasty warm before we get going again. But, when is he going to decide to go? There's a long way left in this third sector. We'll stick with him. When does he decide to go? He's taking a nice wide line through the final turn, and away he goes. And I think that was to try and maximise his exit as much as he possibly could. But seems to have worked for him, and Chaz gets away. He maintains a lead for now, but for how long is, well, barely even a matter for questioning as DeflatedWee comes through to turn 3. By the time he hits the inside of turn 5, he's through on the Alpha Tauri. Chaz has run it very, very wide on exit of turn 6 there, and through to the Mistral straight. Chaz is already 3 positions down. No disasters unless you're driving that particular number 7 Alpha Tauri at the moment. Deflated and Exotic side by side, and Exotic gets through. And Deflated goes for a switch, and Ayahuasca comes storming through there. He takes the lead of the race. I know on penalties again it's going to be a big ask for him to get away, but through goes the Aston Martin. Deflated as well into second position there. And Exotic having to settle for third for now, but all of that, and in storms Ayahuasca. I say 6 seconds worth of penalties is not going to be anything to really help him at all, but it's great to see a new name at the top there. There's that guy and RedDragan go side by side through the first couple of turns. RedDragan winning out against the medium shod Williams. Just looking back at there, BarBar and Johnny B getting rather close to each other there as well, and Johnny B really inspecting the gearbox of that Aston Martin. Steinos has moved out to break the toe, and there goes BarBar to the inside. He's really forced him off, I think. That looked a bit naughty. I do think that definitely looked a bit naughty. Steinos, I think, has cut the corner, and to be fair, has stayed ahead. But it did look very, very naughty from BarBar as he really threw that in. And Steinos has taken a total of 10 seconds of penalties for that. Deflated, oh! Well, he had to avoid hitting the back of Ayahuasca. Ayahuasca probably went in a little bit slower than what he thought he would, and that completely threw him offline. Meanwhile, in among all that as well, Exotic got himself a 3-second penalty, so we could be in for deflated from SmallerSmiley from Chaz at the minute, if Chaz can hold on. DRS is online. We've a yellow in Sector 1, it is Jakub who is round. Sorry, Jakub, you're fat today. Oh, and speaking of round, there's Ayahuasca! Ooh! That's a horrendous moment. He wouldn't have ended the race in the lead anyway, barring an absolute miracle, but he would not have wanted to end it at back of the pack. Spinning on round as he exited turn 6. Deflated, meanwhile, still going at it hammer and tongs with Exotic despite the penalty. Throws it to the inside Labose. He's gone too far though, and Exotic switching back only for Deflated to try it once more. Sticking it to the outside of turn 12, but Exotic just about running him out of room. And suddenly, this is really setting itself up well in these last 3 laps or so, as Deflated looks at the end of the start-finish straight to have a move. I think Exotic may have run into the back of him a little bit. Deflated, I think, went for the move and got it all wrong in terms of his braking really there, and Exotic, of course, is going to carry more momentum. Back through for another DRS straight though. We've got the top 3, Deflated, Exotic, and yep, you can see that right, SmallerSmiley. As Exotic goes through once more to retake the lead over DeflatedWee, but SmallerSmiley, he knows all he's got to do is pass Deflated as Greg's round. Again, is usually what happens when you eat Greg's. That is, well, that's one to mark in the diary. Is another one round. It's called Camper this time. I'm saying, it's not often you see mistakes from Greg. Cod Camper doesn't make too many either. Looking back there, BarBar and RedDragan trying to fend each other off now. SmallerSmiley, as I say, may well have to consider a huge move on Deflated on the final lap, because that is the only driver he has got to pass to potentially get a win. Really warming up for the final lap and a half here. Exotic from Deflated from SmallerSmiley. As I said, it's 3-second penalty on Exotic, so he won't win. Unless, of course, something bad happens. Deflated's still looking for the win on track for Pride, but he doesn't need that. Goes SmallerSmiley still sticking himself right to the back of that Ferrari. And I'd imagine he's going to have a huge chance as they approach the chicane on the final lap. That's TOPGun as well, having a real good look at Chaz, who has held on very well, it has to be said. It's potentially to take a 4th place. Onto the final lap we go, and Deflated, all he has to do is keep it on track and within 3 seconds of his Exotic to take a win. that and the added clause that he is also going to have to remain ahead of the car behind him in SmallerSmiley. This is the exit that matters for SmallerSmiley if he is going to have a chance at taking that Ferrari. Deflated, as I say, has sat wisely all of a sudden behind Exotic, knowing that if he can use that DRS to defend, he will keep the lead. As there he goes on Exotic, and SmallerSmiley is going to have no answer to that at all. So barring a mistake, it will be Deflated to win the race. Chaz really trying to hold on there, and Exotic and Deflated side by side once more. As they hit the Bose now. Deflated's on the inside of the Bose, and he's just been nicked there. Will SmallerSmiley see an opportunity here, I wonder? Will they get close? Steinos and TopGun are going at it behind there as well. SmallerSmiley, I don't think is going to see a chance. And TopGun's eased his way through. And SmallerSmiley at the last corner. It's the inside. Deflated has to go wide. It's a drag race to the line, and he's gone for it. SmallerSmiley. That's going to be a win for SmallerSmiley. And it's a brilliant, brilliant move. Really got to commend him for throwing that in there. Last chance saloon and some. And the Mercedes takes the win. I wonder if the stewards will have anything to say about that, but that is a massive move there from SmallerSmiley. All I caught of it was throwing it down the inside, and it looked like he stopped it. I do think that's completely fine in terms of how that was for SmallerSmiley personally, but that's why I'm not a steward. It's a victory to SmallerSmiley over Deflated on the final turn. Exotic made third, and Johnny B nicely pointing out back there as well as I tried to get around what on earth I'd just seen for the lead there. Johnny B gets fifth. Really representing AT2 well, of course. As I say, SmallerSmiley from 11th on the grid pulls a final lap, final corner move to rob Deflated of a win. Exotic comes third to finish the podium. TopGun fourth. Johnny B with a cracking drive in fifth. RemoteBanjo sixth. That guy making up 9 positions to 7th. BarBar 8th. RedDragan 9th. Greg rounds out the points in 10th. Steinos with that penalty, though, with the penalties he had, set him all the way down to 13th. Johnny B, yeah, I'm calling for it already. Off to AT1 with you. Fantastic stuff. Absolutely brilliant. What a story that is from SmallerSmiley as well. Did look like a bit of wheel banging, but he really threw it in, to be fair to him, and Deflated did look like he had some more space on the outside that he could have used. And SmallerSmiley, as I say, a secure win in the end. Fantastic stuff all around. So we'll wrap it up, of course, from here. We've got AT2 again at 7:30 this coming Sunday. Same track, same setup, sprint format. Just a little bit slower and a bit more vengeance. And next week we go to good old Blighty. Great Britain is the home of the next one. Another sprint format. Silverstone it is. To know